Hey, what's up guys, it's DarkArmedDuelist, and today I'm going to be doing a Galaxy Eyes Photon Dragon deck profile. So I'm super excited for this one because I have a really crazy tech card in the extra deck that I think you guys are going to be absolutely blown away that I'm summoning out of this extra deck. It is crazy what you can actually summon in this deck, and it's really fun deck to play around with. But without further ado, guys, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Hit that bell in there so you can become part of the notification squad. Definitely check out the Patreon down below because we have some really cool awards for you guys, like getting your name in the description of every single video, getting your quest deck profile every single month that you are a patron, or getting a signed card sent to you in the mail, which is a really cool award. So, without further ado, let's get straight on this. I have to say, this is probably one of the greatest decks that came out of Zexal. I mean, Zexal wasn't terrible to me, but I feel like this was probably the best and coolest deck that came out of Zexal. So, first off, we're going to be playing 3 copies of Galaxy Eyes Photon Dragon. So, Galaxy Eyes Photon Dragon is the big boss monster of the deck. You're never really going to activate its effects. It's pretty much a vanilla, but you'd never really summon it by its own effect, by special summoning it by attributing to monster 2,000 attack or more, and your opponent doesn't summon that many XYZs, so it doesn't banish itself, unless you're going up against a deck like Zodiac, which sometimes happens, which is hilarious, but you can target the attacking monster and banish both in this card. And then it also has the ability that if this card is banished by the effect of while it was battling an XYZ monster, this card gains 500 attack for each material the XYZ monster had when it was banished. So that's the only effect that really kind of matters if you battle an XYZ monster. Then we play 3 copies of Photon Orbital. I do think this card, don't worry guys, I think this card is actually going to get a reprint soon. This card is a really neat card that has the ability that during your main phase, you can target a Photon or Galaxy monster you control and equip this card to that monster on the field. And then if the equipped monster gains 500 attack points, and then it can be destroyed at battle, and then you can send this equipped card to the graveyard to add a Photon or Galaxy monster from your deck to your hand, which is a super neat effect to be able to just instantly get a Photon or Galaxy monster directly from your hand. Now, I will say this card is about a $45 card right now. You do need 3 of it for the deck. You can play the deck without it. It's not quite as consistent, but you can play it without it. If you don't want to play it, play a couple of hand traps in here instead. Maybe a couple of Droll and Mockbirds just to kind of make it slow down the game, but that is an option for you guys. It will be getting a reprint, I would imagine, in the next Legendary Duelist set of the Season 2, because it came out in Legendary Duelist 3, so I'd imagine that one's going to have 3 and 4, and this probably will get a reprint. So then we're going to be playing 3 copies of Photon Vanisher. This card cannot be normal summoned or set. Must be special summoned your hand while you control a Photon or Galaxy monster. And it can attack the turn it was special summon, and you can only special summon it once per turn. And if this card is special summon, you can add a Galaxy Eyes Photon Dragon from your deck to your hand. And it also has the ability that if it's used for an XYZ summon, and it battles an opponent's monster, you can banish any monster that is destroyed by battle with the XYZ monster that uses this card as a material, which is kind of cool. Then we play 2 copies of Photon Thrasher. The 2 copies of Photon Thrasher special summon themselves if your opponent controls a monster and you don't. Kind of like Cyber Dragon, which is kind of cool to be able to do. We play 2 copies of Galaxy Knight. The 2 copies of Galaxy Knight, basically, if you control a Photon or Galaxy monster, you can normal summon this card without attributing. And then if you do, you get to target a Galaxy Eyes Photon Dragon in your graveyard. And then, regardless, this card loses 1,000 attack. And if you do, you special summon the monster from the graveyard, which is super neat to be able to do. 2 copies of Galaxy Brave. The Galaxy Brave is a super cool card. I really want to bump this card to 3. I say that just about every time I do a profile of this deck, because this card is literally that good. I just think it's such a good card, because what it does is you can, if this card's in your hand, you reveal a Photon monster in your hand and then special summon this card, and if you do, its level becomes the level of the Photon monster. And if this card is normal or special summoned, you can target a Galaxy monster in your graveyard, and the attack of this card becomes the attack and defense of that Galaxy monster, which is a really good effect to be able to just basically manipulate this card's attack and level. But you always want it to be a level 8, so that's really a good effect. Then we play 3 copies of Galaxy Soldier. The 3 Galaxy Soldier, you just send a light monster from your hand to the graveyard to special summon this card from your hand. And then it also has the ability that when this card is special summoned, you can add a Galaxy monster from your deck to your hand, which is super nice to be able to just special summon that additional Galaxy monster from your deck to your hand, or add it from your deck to your hand, because you can add something like Photon Vanisher or something like that. or not Photon Vantage Tribute, you had like Galaxy Brave, Galaxy Soldier, Photon Galaxy Eyes, just depends on what you need, or another Galaxy Soldier so you can special summon Infinity. Then we play a single copy of Galaxy Wizard. This card is pretty much the only normal summon in the deck besides Galaxy Soldier, but basically what this card does is you can level manipulate it up to a level 8, and you can tribute it to add a Galaxy card from your deck to your hand, except another Galaxy Wizard. Really good effect. I really like that effect to be able to level manipulate it, and it's super nice to be able to level manipulate it, so I play it as a 1-of. Then I play 3 copies of Ash Blossom. The 3 Ash Blossoms basically here so you don't have to deal with your opponent's shenanigans, and the same thing with Nibiru, because the majority of the time you're going to be going second anyways, so it doesn't matter if you just go second and drop the Nibiru on your opponent on the first turn, and then go at them with your Galaxy Eyes Photon Dragons to OTK them, because this deck is a primarily OTK based deck. If you do get forced to go first, you're probably going to go for your Infinity play. If you don't go first, you're going to go for your OTK play, which is going to be literally summoning a bunch of rank 8 monsters. So that's it for the monsters, guys. Let's get into those spell cards. So for the spells, we're going to be playing 3 copies of Call by the Grave. Call by the Grave basically just stops our opponent from doing all their hand trap shenanigans, and that's why I play it as a 3-of. Galaxy Zero is a searchable monster reborn that lets us target a Photon or Galaxy monster in the graveyard and special summon it in face-up attack position. And the equipped monster cannot attack nor activate its effects, and if it would be destroyed by battle, then you can destroy this card instead. And when this card leaves the field, the equipped monster loses all its attack points and goes to 0, which is not that big of a deal because you're usually just going to use it as a XYZ material anyways, so it's just basically here for that. 1 copy of Galaxy Trance. Galaxy Trance is searchable, so that's why I just play it as a 1-of. You get to pay 2,000 life points to target a Photon monster in your grave and special summon both it and a Galaxy monster from your deck, and then with the same level, but both in defense position. And if you do, each monster becomes 2,000 attacks and their effects are negated, and you can only activate a Galaxy Trance points per turn, and you can't normal summon a turn you activate this card, but we only play 3 normal summons in the deck, so that's not that big of a deal anyways. But paying the 2k is not that big of a deal, but summoning those 2 monsters to be able to link summon into something is really nice. Then we play 3 copies of Galaxy Expedition, which was one of the best cards in the entire deck. If you control a level 5 or higher Photon or Galaxy monster, you can special summon a level 5 or higher Photon or Galaxy monster from your deck in face-up defense, which is super nice to be able to do and get them out onto the field. I really like that ability, and basically makes a 1-card XYZ play. 3 copies of Photon Sanctuary. The Photon Sanctuaries are super nice still because you can use them as XYZ materials to summon your Galaxy Eye Soulflare Dragon, which is super nice to be able to go into. And then 3 copies of Trade-In because we play a bunch of level 8 monsters, and sometimes you do draw into like 2 Galaxy Eyes Photon Dragons and you don't need them, so you use the Trade-In to get rid of them. So that's it for the spells, guys. Let's get into the traps. So for the traps, we're playing just 2 Tachyon Transmigration. This card is absolutely crazy. I just play it as a 2-of because I don't want to break with 3 copies of it, but if you control a Galaxy Eyes monster, you can negate the activation of your opponent's spell or trap cards and monster effects that were activated before this card in the chain, and then shuffle those cards into the deck. So if your opponent chains all the way up to like 6 or 7, and it's all their chain, and you flip this at the end of the chain, then it basically shuffles everything they activated back in the deck. This card can negate Solemn Judgment, Solemn Strike, anything. It can negate them all, and they still have to pay the cost, which sucks. And it puts the cards back in the deck, so they have to redraw them too, which is really nice. And if you control a Galaxy Eyes Tachyon Dragon, you activate this card from your hand. But we usually don't summon Galaxy Eyes Tachyon Dragon in this deck, so that's not that big of a deal. You're usually just going to set this card and then go after your opponent when you have to go first. So that's it for the main deck, guys. Let's get into the extra deck where all of our boss monsters lay. So basically, in the extra deck, we're going to be playing 2 copies of number 62 Galaxy Eyes Prime Photon Dragon. This card's a starter card in the extra deck. I know it doesn't look like one. It looks like the boss of the deck, which it kind of is. But what this card does is if it attacks or it is attacked, during the damage calculation, detach material from this card, and then once per battle, this card gains attack equal to the combined original attack or combined rank of all XYZ monsters currently on the field times 200. So it's automatically going to gain 1,600 right off the bat. So it's going to go up to 5,600, which is really nice on a swing. And then during damage calculation only, and this card in its owner's control is destroyed by an opponent's card effect while it has a Galaxy Eyes Photon Dragon's material. You can special summon this card during the second standby phase after this card was destroyed, and then double its attack to 8,000, and then any damage this card deals to your opponent is halved. Unless it has Galaxy Eyes Photon Dragon as a material. So that's not that big of a deal, but doing the 8,000 attack is not that bad, but usually the deck is not going to draw out a duel that long anyways. So for the upgraded versions, we're playing one copy of Galaxy Eyes Full Armor Photon because you can overlay this on top of any of your Galaxy Eyes XYZs to pop a card, which is super nice. Galaxy Eyes Cypher Blade, kind of the same reason. You overlay this on top of an XYZ monster that was a Galaxy monster and it can pop something, which is super nice, and that's the big reason you play it. One copy of Cyber Dragon because you can just take an opponent's monster, which is really, really nice to be able to take those opponent's monsters. For a little bit of defense, we play number 90 Galaxy Eyes Photon Lord. This card, when an opponent's monster activates its effect, you can detach material from this card and negate the activation, and if you detached materials that was a Galaxy monster, you destroy it. And during your opponent's turn, you can quick effect take a Galaxy or Photon monster from your deck and either add it to your hand or attach it to this card, which is really nice to be able to search those cards. It's a good one-of. You're always going to make this and a sword monster. I say a sword and a shield. I say this is the shield, and then you have the other ones, the dragons, as the swords. One copy of number 38 because it gobbles up spells and negates spells, which is super nice. And then for the tech card. Okay, so here we go. So I'm going to lay both of these cards down. You guys are going to guess them below. It might be a little obvious on one of them, but the other one is not. I guarantee you. So definitely comment down below. It is a 2-card combo that you make with a rank 8. It is a rank 8, but the other card that you summon off of it is not a rank 8. That's your only hint. So don't forget to comment down below. Let me know what you think the card is. It's a really cool tech card that I'm going to reveal to you guys in 3, 2, 1. I love this game because you guys comment all the time for this. So definitely comment down below and tell me what you think of this. So here we go. 3, 2, 1. Here we go. So don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, guys. So what the tech is one copy of number 97, which everybody plays in this deck. But if I revealed that, you guys might have gotten a hint of what the actual tech card is. If you haven't guessed the tech, tell me what it is. So the tech card is really crazy, and it is number 100 Numeron Dragon. Okay, so number 100 Numeron Dragon. Why in the world do you play this? Okay, so here we go. Why do you play this? What you do is you make number 97. After you make number 97, you detach the 2 materials or the materials off of this card to take 2 dragon monsters that are number monsters and overlay one with the other one. So what you do is you take you're going to take your number 62 and you overlay it with the number, or you make the number 62 and then you use this as a material to summon the number 100. Number 100's effect is that once per turn, you can detach material from this card, and this card gains attack equal to the combined original attack of all XYZ monsters on the field times 1,000. It's a rank 1. This is a rank 8. It goes up to 9,000 attack. That is insanely powerful. And it can OTK your opponent in one hit, which is really cool. And then it also has the ability that when this card is destroyed by a card effect, you can destroy as many monsters on the field as possible, minimum 1. And then each player sets 1 spell or trap on their field to their field. And then when an opponent's monster declares an attack, while this card's in your graveyard, and you have no cards in your hand or field, you can special summon this card. So it's really cool to be able to just revive it back on the field and just special summon it back to protect you. And it's just such a good card and a throwback to Zexal. So definitely give us a like, comment, subscribe for being able to play number 100 Numeron Dragon in a Galaxy Eyes Photon Dragon deck. That was a really interesting tag for you guys. So then we play one copy of Star Leech Photon Blast Dragon. This card is our only rank 4 that we play in the deck. It just really helps out to be able to make this card sometimes. Then we play Cyber Dragon Infinity and Cyber Dragon Nova and Infinity. You overlay the Nova with the Infinity, so you can go into the Infinity and be able to stop your opponent from doing all sorts of stuff against you. And it's just kind of a walking gate that you summon with the Galaxy Soldier. 2 copies of Galaxy Eyes Soulflare Dragon. You don't really make this card quite as much as you used to because Link format is over now. Still one of my favorite cards for Link monsters because I love the artwork of this card. But if this card is Link Summon, you get to target 1 Photon or Galaxy monster in your grave and add it to your hand, which is the really cool effect of this card. And then, during your opponent's main phase, you can quick effect discard a Photon or Galaxy monster, or discard a Galaxy Eyes Photon Dragon to target a special summon monster your opponent controls and destroy it. So it helps you with a little bit of disruption too, so I still play as a 2-of. And then we play a single copy of Union Carrier, because you can use the Union Carrier to equip the Photon Orbital to a monster, and then detach the Photon Orbital or send it to the graveyard by its own effect, because it's been equipped, and then trigger its effect. So that's why you play the 1 copy of Union Carrier. So that's it for the deck, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. It's a super interesting deck, especially with this card as being a tech. It's really fun to do. I really like that as a tech card for this deck, and it's super fun to be able to do that. So definitely give us a like, comment, subscribe. Don't forget to hit that bell down there so you guys can become a part of the notification squad. And also check out the Patreon down in the description because we have some super cool rewards for you guys. And I'll see you guys in the next video. See you around, guys.